Hello everyone. Can people hear me? It's the first time where I stream where I have like a dual monitor setup, which is let's see if it plays to my advantage or not. Could go both ways, as I'm sure you understand. Hello, everyone. I'm glad someone says they can hear me. That helps. So I thought today I am trying to buy books, and I'm sorry to say, Curious Cat, I know that you don't want me to expand my shelves anymore, but I do feel like I need to buy books again, and I'll try to explain. I felt like each time I go into a bookstore and where I don't buy anything, I do sort of regret it, and I feel like for every time I don't buy books, my lust for reading decreases a little bit. So I need now to buy books again, and hopefully that will help. So yeah, buying books again. Yes, supposed to bring it under 100. I know. I'm going to do so anyway. Is my hope, my aspiration. So I'm thinking I can still buy books, and then I just need to get rid of more books. It's not that easy, but I do find enjoyment in the challenge, and I now need to buy more books to sustain my reading habits, is my thinking. I've made there it is, a poll, as you probably can see, of which author I should read next from the Nobel Literature gang, I suppose. So I'm happy if you have decided to buy the author that wins the poll, is my thinking. So that's what I'm going to do. White Nomad says sounds coming only from the left channel. I don't think it's my fault. I hope it's not my fault. Is it? Are more people just having sound in one channel? I can see if I have like more options. It's okay if you feel betrayed. I get it, but if I still manage to get my bookshelf under 100 before the year ends, then there's no betrayal to speak of. So I will still have that as a game plan. Also, I have read some of the books I bought lately, so there's a hope that in me buying books it will just keep the situation. What's the expression? It doesn't change anything. It will still be the same amount of books, I hope. Also, just have sound through left side. Okay. Let's see if I can do some magic in. I don't know why there's only sound on one side. Let's have a look. Maybe it's my Mac OS settings. I don't like when sounds isn't in both ears, so I will try to figure this out. Strange. Your TBR is 250. Well, that's a lot. No big deal. Well, let's see if Did the sound come in both sides now? Okay, we'll leave it. It's just it's a long time since I've done a live stream, and you might say that it, like, learning the streaming software again from scratch each time is kind of annoying, but yeah, it's working like halfway. So just just joined the stream and wouldn't recommend reading Lagerlöf. By the way, I'm a Swede. Yeah, I don't know, it's just that her name keeps popping up whenever I consider reading some Swedish books. She's the one that everyone suggests reading the first, and well, that's it's sort of tempting just because everyone says that you should read her. So well, we'll see. At least she's in the poll, and it looks like she's leading. The poll isn't that obvious to me. The Growth of Soil. Yeah, Growth of Soil I have standing in my shelf. Have considered getting rid of it. I've tried reading it once before, but it sort of was underwhelming experience. But it could also be the case that I didn't put enough effort into it, I guess. But who knows? Maybe maybe I'll try again. At least she's one of the noble what's it called? The noble people. Let's call them the noble people. Anyway, I feel like I should try reading her at some point so I can have my back cleared. It's like being a Scandinavian booktuber, sort of feel like I have to read some of the Scandinavian classics. And often you end up doing so because it's easier to find the books, thrift stores, etc. I guess that's the case. In sort of I thought I'd make a stream today. One, because I'm home alone, which makes it easier to do a stream, but also the fact that I've had like a shopping cart on the internet ready to buy books, but I haven't been able to pull the trigger, and today is sort of the last day where they have this it's cheaper to buy them today than later. So yeah, I felt like you could help me decide what books to buy and not to buy. So while you talk in the chat, I thought the reason why I decided to buy books again is one, that I feel like I need to buy books to read more books. Sort of the synergy of reading a book and then buying a book and then reading a book and buying a book, and yeah, you get my drift. And someone recommended to me reading the book Cloud Atlas in one of my videos, a book by David Mitchell. Cloud Atlas is one of the books that I've only heard about the book because of the movie, so I didn't know it was based on a book at all. But what surprised me even more is that it's based on a book by David Mitchell. So I don't know if anyone of you have seen the show Peep Show, but that's by and with David Mitchell, and was surprised that he has written books and that his books were any good. So that's where we start. I think someone mentioned that David Mitchell and the Cloud Atlas book was kind of close to Murakami in some sense. And of course that's triggering for my book buying wants and needs. So that's why I'm considering reading that book or buying it. I will probably buy that book because that's the reason why this whole thing happened, I guess. So I'm looking forward to it. I am also thinking about like making a video where I talk about authors I've read that is similar to Murakami, which is a stupid idea because there are so few of them that are similar to Murakami. So if you have suggestions for books that are sort of like the similar vibe as Murakami, you're very welcome to put those book recommendations in the chat, I guess. So, Growth of Soil, Gustav Berling Saga, Curious Cat loves Sweden. It's a weird thing to say in this Norwegian booktube chat, but okay, I'll accept it. Pamuk is one of those authors I thought were not going to be a noble author. It's and I think that is because the books of that author is so popular. I've seen they're all around the place in thrift stores and in flea markets, and thus I thought they wouldn't have been like Nobel Prize winning. Not to say that if someone wins the Nobel Prize, the author becomes very famous and sells a lot of books, and so on and so forth, and that means that a lot of people have them, but the people that donate those books to flea markets, I wouldn't think are the same people that buys the books. Does that make sense? It's like if you're the kind of person that when someone wins the Nobel Prize for literature, you go and buy the books and then donates them again, I would think that those people just keeps them for themselves. That's my prejudice against people that buy books from Nobel Prize winning authors. So that's why I haven't considered Pamuk earlier. I thought he was a sort of how should I say this? I don't know if I have some authors in my mind that I can like compare his books to, but like sort of a easygoing kind of books. I don't know. Let's see. Enjoyed his writing and his memoirs about Istanbul. Memoirs could be a way to go for me. I do love my memoirs, and well, if someone writes good memoirs, that's better. Words. Oh, thank you. I love the look of your shelves. I am very happy with them. I'm trying to install more lights into them, because I find that to be quite a nice aesthetic, but it's hard to find lamps that are short enough to fit in. So that's an ongoing process. Also, I'm very happy with them. I have enough space now. So out of the picture, and I won't show you this. It's not a secret, but over there it's like in my shelves there's a guitar amp and empty shelves, so I still have space in my shelves for future endeavors, which is a good thing. So I have read Murakami's Men Without Women. This one. And I did enjoy that very much. I have, well, I think I've read about 70% of his books by now. I hope it's less, but I think it's 70, and I do fear the day where there's nothing left, and he's dead, and all those kinds of things. Shouldn't think about these kinds of things, but I did enjoy Men Without Women very much, especially the first short story. Yeah, apology accepted, Curious Cat. It's weird that you know when our national day, our Independence Day. I don't know what it's called in English. Our 17th of May, yes. That's a bit strange. But now I know when your birthday is, so that's, yeah, I don't know. We share the same tricolor in our flags, I guess. So, looks like Selma, I don't know if I can check my chat in real time. Let's have a look. I need to read more Murakami. I've only read Norwegian Wood, Men Without Women, and his books about running. Yeah, I read Norwegian Wood as the first one because my girlfriend said that it was a fantastic book. It ends up being maybe my least favorite of Murakami's novels. And I don't I can't explain why. I guess that a lot of his books have extra elements to them, like a more spacey stuff, which I don't tend to love, but I love it in his books, obviously. And yeah, what I don't know what to say. It's strange that I don't love Norwegian Wood more than I do, but so far it's not my favorite. His books. Does he have? No, sorry, I read wrong. His book about running I do also love, but it felt like I loved it because I got to know Murakami, and the more I know him as a person, the more I love him. I guess seems like really just a man living his dream, which is good for him and for all of us, I guess. Yeah, I talked about this with a friend of mine yesterday about the magical realism. I still don't feel like Murakami is magical realism. It's and I guess it's because the magical stuff isn't really a part of his his world. It is obviously, but it's not like it's a normal part of the world for people in his universe. So when magical stuff happens, it's weird. It's not like reading what Marquez Garcia Gabriel Garcia Marquez or Paulo Coelho, where it's like the aspect of God is just very natural. Often, it's just something that lives in this world. Whereas in Murakami's novels, it's often like if the magical stuff happens, it's just, oh shit, what is going to happen? Or that is strange. I like it all, but I don't feel like it's a magical realism because I've made several videos on this channel where I talk about my miscontempt for magical realism, which makes me then again have to justify that Murakami isn't magical realism, which is stupid. But yeah, still feel like it's not magical realism. There, I've said it again, so we can all agree. I don't know, but if some of you have uh, like if some of you have suggestions for books that are like Murakami's novels, I would very much like to have them suggested. Let's see here. I read 1Q84 and Hard Boiled Wonderland, and The End of the World will be the next. Next will be the Wind Up Bird Chronicle. I did enjoy Wind Up Bird Chronicle a lot. It's strange, as with all of them. 1Q84 is still my absolute favorite of his, and well, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole the other day because let's see here. I'm still trying to fix the sound. Is the sound in both ears now? If someone could tell me if the sound comes from both speakers, I would be very happy. I'm very hung up on this sound issue. I work with sound as a profession, so it's annoying if the sound is only in one ear. That's all I'm going to say. Probably not all I'm going to say since this is a live stream, but we'll see. Yay! The sound is fixed. Oh, hallelujah. Thank you to all the powers that have been invested to helping me solve this puzzle. What I was going to try to say is that I've walked down a rabbit hole because I started thinking about Murakami, his books, and how well written they are. And obviously I don't read them in Japanese, I read them in Norwegian. And I saw this, I started Googling, and this woman appeared that is the translator of Murakami's novels to Norwegian. And I just started reading interviews with her because I'm fascinated with a person just, okay, this is my life now. I'm going to translate books that are 1,000 pages or more for fun, and then maybe it'll be my profession, and then, well, I'm I'm just impressed with people that translate books in general, but they're so well translated. I do love the language in them. And I can't remember if this is a fever dream or if this is real, but it's like when Murakami he writes in English, then translates his book himself to Japanese, if I remember correctly, because and I feel like that makes sense because the books, they feel like they are so easily read, and it's sometimes the language is childishly easily read or written, and well, it makes sense. I don't know if I this is stuff that I just make up in my head. Sometimes that happens. So anyway, Hardboiled Wonderland I still haven't read. The reason why I haven't read it is because it's one of those. I don't have that big of hands, so I just despise the size of this. So this is more normal. They have been given out on the same publisher, but this is like his normal sized book, and then there is the other one. I feel like it's more impactful in real life. Let's just put it that way. This is Kafka on the Shore, and this is Hardboiled, etc. So yeah. Reading a lot of Houellebecq lately. Whatever his debut is probably my favorite novel of his so far. Well, that's interesting because I have a Houellebecq novel in my shopping cart, and since this is Norwegian, I'll try to translate it. It's like I'm going to go on Goodreads to find the answer to my puzzle. I think it's the most famous one. Sometimes there are so many bad or unusual translations for books to Norwegian. The elementary particles, it's called. I don't know if that's the one you were thinking about or not. But I have read Platform and Serotonin of his, which I enjoyed both. But there, I enjoy the strange way he writes, or it doesn't feel like an author has written his books. If that's how I feel, it feels like a man-child has written his books, in a way. It's again, I talked about this in a recent video. It's very hard for me to explain why I do like some texts and not. But yeah. But Houellebecq is a character in real life, and I follow his private life with great pleasure. In a sense, he seems like a person that both has everything going for him and nothing at the same time, which is a strange place to be, I guess. My mother have read it and recently got back from Turkey to confirm that it includes very accurate descriptions of its capital. If you have never been, it's a great book to get a taste of it. What is the Pamuk book called? If it's, I'll see if I can put it in my shopping cart, and then I think maybe I'll buy the books, and then later today I can post which books I bought, so it's I don't have the pressure of doing it live. That would be terrible. Also, shouldn't show my credit card online. That's the thing I've heard. So if you have the name of the book, please leave it in the comments, and I'll check it out. Do you read any fancy sci-fi books? Maybe read in past. I have read my first ever fantasy book today. Actually, finished it today. And that's this one, Dune. So it's a, well, it's a classic, I guess. And I got this from a dear friend of mine, probably now 3 years ago, because he's a huge sci-fi geek. And I've been meaning to get to this, but it's terrifying. I guess the thing that's terrifying in them is all the names, and that every place you visit in the in the novel has a new name that you have to try to remember, and then people have a name in that on that planet, and then they move to this planet, get a new name, and then they are sort of enhanced in some way, or they become ruler of a place, and then they have a new name, which is, sometimes I forget the name of my sister. It's not, I know what her name is, but sometimes it just disappears from my brain, which is terrible in the right or wrong circumstances, but it happens. So to think that I should remember a name from a book, it's too much to ask. So that's why sci-fi terrifies me a little bit. But now I've read Dune, and I really enjoyed Dune. I had to sit down for several hours and really try to focus on the names to get going, and that is something I do sometimes. So as here, it's not my first fantasy; it's my first sci-fi. So yeah, I think it's my first sci-fi. It all depends on where you draw the line. I've read quite a few fantasy books by now. I also this month finished reading the 5th book in Ben Ornwich's Rivers of London series, which I also do really enjoy. I've read 5 books. They're all entertaining, but I did say to someone that it felt like being like a palate cleanser. Not like I don't think any of the books are fantastic, nor is any one of those bad. So it's my go-to for just, I know what I'll get if I read them, and I'll be happy with what I get. I think, hope. I know I'm happy with what I get. I think it's 9 books, so I have 4 left. Also thinking about just buying the next one in the series, because if I did enjoy this more than a couple of the other books. This time they're in the countryside in England and not just in London, which sort of helps breaking it up a bit. Let's see. So yeah, have read Brandon Sanderson. Also last month finished Siri Pettersen, which is a Norwegian fantasy writer. Her Odin's Child or Raven Rings trilogy. Can't remember which one of it is. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Still have the, what's it called? The Lord of Kings. No, the Way of Kings series in my shelf. Have to take a sneak peek. It's I can say to you, especially Curious Cat, that fantasy books is one of the things that is hindering me in getting rid of books, because I have the first novel of a lot of fantasy books where I just haven't finished or started any of them, because I'm waiting to finish a trilogy, for example, and then they just keep on piling up. Let's see if I could find some of them in my shelf. So I do like it when I feel like I'm in a very good place with fantasy. If I'm in a fantasy series I love, then everything's okay. Life is good. So I've bought Poppy War, for example, as a series I thought I'd start immediately. Then I decided to finish another trilogy before I started reading this one. So it's not the biggest, but it still has some pages to it. Then I also bought The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. Then someone talked trash about this series after I saw a couple of booktube reviews that loved it. Still feel like this is a really, 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 really cool cover though. I do like this aesthetic. I'm not a big dragon fan, but just look at it. It looks really real. Then it's Ready Player One, which I bought because I thought I'd read more sci-fi. Have not started at all, even though this isn't a large one. Got Leviathan Wakes from a friend of mine. I've started this on audiobook actually maybe 10 times. Still, the name thing is the issue, Vetle, if you're listening. I've really struggled with the names. Also from the same friend, got a memory called Empire. The same problem here with all the names, so it's still resting. And then I found this one at the thrift store. But this is humongous. So this has been somewhat near the edge of my bucket. It's 800 pages, so that's a little bit too much. So if your input is very much welcome. I do have too many books I don't know if I could get rid of or not. At some point I should just get rid of every book that I have that is written before the 1900s, because that would be like a clear cutoff. Just, everything here is old, and I probably won't like that as much, which is probably true, but there are some hidden gems amongst the classics as well, unfortunately for me. Yeah, Susanna Clark. Someone says they see Susanna Clark on my shelf. Yeah, I have two of those. The bigger one, which I can't remember the name of. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, and then Piranesi, or however you say that name. I thought Piranesi was the best one. The other one was a bit too long for me at the time when it happened. Maybe you should do this first chapter thing where you read a bunch of the first chapters of different books to see which one to read next. Except you could get rid of the ones that you don't grab you. I've thought about doing that. I actually thought about doing a live stream where I just sat down, read the first page of every book I have unread, and tried to decide what to do with it. But I felt like that would make for a very, very bad live stream. I could do it like a half an hour at a time, sort of a readathon thing. I will think about it. But if we come December and I still have like 150 books, I will have to do something about it, I guess. So let's see where it leaves us. Leaves us. But it's a very good suggestion. And I do still like to think of my shelves as being less and less full in a way. I haven't yet read Poppy War, but I was disappointed by Babel and depressed by Yellowface, so I think R.F. Kuang is not for me. I also have Yellowface standing in my shelf. I think that could be a good introduction. But I think the thing that intrigued me with Poppy War is just reading fantasy from a different perspective with, a different kind of world. That's why I bought it, at least. One thing that I have, like, one of the reasons why I want to get rid of books and buy new ones is that the new ones are often a lot more colorful than the old ones. So just for the aesthetics of my shelf, it looks better with new books. I do like it when they're more colorful. When I was a child and a grown child, I did buy a lot of books thrifted, and they were all sort of like brownish because they were old. So basically, they all looked like this copy of Dune, just ugly. Don't look at the thing I haven't removed. I know some of you will be irritated by the fact that I have not remove the sticker yet. Yellowface is my favorite book of 2024. Yep, a lot of people did really, really, really enjoy that novel or the book. Recommended since we are slowly approaching Christmas season, and it does help to learn more about motifs taken from Christianity, which are actually widespread. It's a word I've never heard before. Widespread, probably widespread, which is a word that I've heard before, even in modern Danish countries. Yeah, the thing about Christianity, I went to Milan last year, and I do love walking around looking at cathedrals. It's one of the things I enjoy most on vacation, and the reason why I do love just going to Europe, the rest of Europe in vacations. And I sort of, each time I think, I would love to be the kind of person that understands how things are connected on the doors. If you look at a door in Milan, there's symbolism maxed out in every corner, and I never fully understand it, which is sort of depressing, but it's also not, it's not possible to learn all the things about these cathedrals, of course. So basically life there summed up. It was so bleak. As a writer myself, it's just made of the idea of trade publicity so depressing. Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's not going to be pretty, I'm sure. Recently in a video you reviewed Johan Harstad's Buzz Aldrin. I've read Max Misha og Tet-offensiven. It got insanely high reviews in Netherlands. Curious on your take. Yeah, I've not read that one yet because of its size, but I have, since I read Buzz Aldrin, the Johan Harstad book, as the first Johan Harstad book this year, haven't gotten around to look into the other ones that he got. My mother is a huge fan, so she probably has some of them lying around. So also, I did love that book, and it will probably end up being in my top 10 this year, just for the amount of time that I've been stuck thinking about that novel after I finished reading it. I think when December comes, it's all about which books made it stuck with me for the rest of the year. But the whole of Norwegian BookTube and BookTok and Bookstagram loved that novel, so I guess at some point. I don't know how it is in different countries. I feel like in Norway, I was on TikTok for a little while, but then stopped because of, I guess, political reasons, I could tell you, but also I was a bit tired of chopping up content. But in Norway, like Bookstagram is huge. There are so many people writing about books on Bookstagram, but barely no booktubers at all, which is kind of sad for a person that does booktube. Booktube is more fun. I do like this a lot better than Bookstagram. Also, I do not like, I sometimes like it, but the hassle of piling up books to take a picture, or taking a picture that no one has taken before of books, I don't know. It feels stressful. Comes from a man that sits here and talks about, like, I spend my time talking about books a lot, but it's easier to me than taking a picture of them. There was something I was going to say and then I forgot about it, which I don't know if it's a shame or not, but it is what it is. The same was in Soviet Union. Books were kind of ugly brown, dark red, gray. I guess it's all about the binding and what materials you had lying about. As a Nobel Prize winners who still actively publish new books and who are worth knowing, I would also suggest Gurna. I almost bought Paradise when he so it's like every time a Nobel Prize for Literature winner comes out, I'm excited, and then I I'm exhausted because everyone is going to read that author. So when he won, I had the books lined up in my basket again, but decided not to pull the trigger. But maybe it's now time to read him after a while. Now I felt like sort of a hipster, I guess. How many books do you usually read in a year? Well, I think the 4 or 5 years I've been on BookTube, I read like the first year I think I read about 30. At most I read like 110, I guess. And this year maybe 50, 60, something like that. I don't really count anymore, luckily, because that's exhausting. But I do like Goodreads and Storygraph for that reason, to keep track, but mainly to look back if there are some books that I really love that I've forgotten about, which happens. Barely any Swedish booktubers either. I also prefer booktube over TikTok and Instagram. And then Curious Cat says, in Sweden I watch Ellen Made Book Club. Yep. Fiction and Fika I'm not familiar with, I think. I do spend less time watching booktube videos now, unfortunately, than I did earlier, because of time. Time is of the essence, and I do have a family and stuff, so that keeps me occupied. I remember like 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, I spent a very, very large portion of my life hanging around on booktube without actually reading that many books, but I just felt immense joy from hearing other people talking about their favorite books, which is still the case when I watch videos, but I do watch very few videos, unfortunately, which is still, I feel like, is a shame. But I get why people watch booktube, and I do like making the videos. The only thing is, I sometimes wish I only read 5-star books, because some channels that I've enjoyed watching only seem to read stuff they love, which is exhausting to look at, but also what a great feeling it would be if every book you read was fantastic. I'll go and have a look at Istanbul and the Memories is the book from Orhan Pamuk. I'll put that in my basket, and I just have to remember to read the books before I log off. It's funny, when I go to that place, I have when I go to that place, when I put the book in my basket, it recommends me 3 books. It's The World of Yesterday by Stefan Zweig, which I absolutely loved. If you watched my wrap-up a couple of months ago, what I talk about when I talk about running, Murakami, which I absolutely love, and then the Copenhagen trilogy by Tove Ditlevsen, which I don't love at all. So there is a wide variety of books recommended to me, I guess. I can go through my shopping cart so far. I started out with the Cloud Atlas book, which I'm going to buy. Then I put all the Murakami novels that I hadn't bought before in my basket, which helps. Curious Cat says, speaking about busy lives beyond YouTube, I have to hop off. Thank you so much for participating. And yeah, I guess that's that. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. It's fun talking to you all. So next, I have 2 books. These 2 books by Sally Rooney, which I really, really liked, both of them. Normal People was my favorite novel almost for the year I read it, and I haven't bought any of her other books, but I'm very much interested in trying to read the Intermezzo book that she wrote. It's a little bit bigger than the rest of them, but I do want to read it. Also in my basket so far is Stargate, A Christmas Tale by Yngwie Lerisøy. It's as it says, it's a Christmas tale. So I think it's a darker Christmas tale. I haven't really. It's each Christmas in Norway now. It's all over the place. A lot of people are reading it every year, it seems, and it's a short tale. And I haven't read that many Christmas books, so I think that also will end up in my mailbox because I feel like I have to read it. Then it's Michel Houellebecq, and the book I mentioned earlier, what's it called? The Elementary Particles. If someone should suggests that I should read another Houellebecq book, please leave that in the comments, or else I will buy that book. Then it's a book if you know, sometimes I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know if you've been watching. Some of you I know have been watching my videos for a while, and some of you I have no idea if you have watched any of my videos or if you're just here for the. Yeah, let's just let that one slide. But I've read a lot of Fredrik Backman books earlier, and if let's just see. I know many of you like when I show the pictures, because then you can see how it's written instead of how I'm saying it. And this book absolutely destroyed me when I read it. It was my favorite read by far the year I read it, and afterwards, this is a part of a trilogy where I haven't read the other two books, but then someone said to me that reading the second book, basically several people told me that reading the second book in this series was a bit waste if you've read this one, because they were sort of similar, but then the third book is supposed to be amazing. Not that the second book isn't meant to be amazing, but it's just a little bit similar to this. So I put it on hold for a bit. And then I thought I'd find this thrifted somewhere, the second book, because it's a very famous author and he's Swedish and he sells a lot of books. So I've just waited a bit. So the second book is also in my basket, and I'm hoping that it will be time to read it again. It's kind of bleak, or at least it's as bleak and heartwarming as the rest of Fredrik Backman's books. And since we're now in October, I guess that it will be time to read it soon, since it's dark and depressing outside. Whatever by Houellebecq, as I said earlier, is my favorite of his. Utvidelse av kampsonen. That is not a book that I'm familiar with, but it shows up here quite quickly, and I'll put it in my basket and then I'll have a look later. I'm not familiar with these books. It's just very tempting to read them all, I guess. Also now in the recommended place where I've put my... When you buy something, you're recommended something else you also might like, and that's Satan Tango. I don't know, it's written in one word, but I don't feel like it's possible to say it in one word, but Satan Tango by the new winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature. I can't even try to I can't try to pronounce his name, because that is impossible, to me at least. But anyway, my last video, it was about Nobel Prize for Literature winners. Became very much more popular than it usually has been earlier, which is, of course, to me, a happy thing. I made a list of the books that people were recommending to me in the comment section, and I thought I'd speak a little bit about those in case some of you has have opinions about them that I can use for my benefit. If anyone has opinion of these, please comment them below. Maybe I should have put them in the comments because it's maybe easier to see. I can take the obvious ones. A lot of people said that reading Hong Kong was a good idea. Was it last year she won? I looked her up earlier today. She was born in 1970, so she was way younger than I thought she would be, which is, I guess, a cool thing that they've starting to include not close to death people, if that makes sense. Let's see here. I thought I'll try to. There is this one video of Doris Lessing when she is she gets to know that she is going to win or she has won the Nobel Prize for literature. Let's see if I could put that in the chat. Haven't tried this before, but I do recommend that clip for anyone because it's amazing. She seems like a really cool person. So that's why I put her. I think I think I put her in the competition for the books that I'm going to read next because she seems like a very cool person. Yeah, she hasn't won the vote so far. It looks like Selma Lagerlöf is the one that's going to win. Unfortunately for me, since I think Doris Lessing is the one that I should read next. But that is life. I've put my fate in your hands. But obviously, since Hong Kong won not that long ago, a lot of people have suggested me reading her books. Also, Toni Morrison, Beloved. I do think that I got rid of Beloved. Let's. I'll have a look. Yeah, I think Beloved by Toni Morrison left my shelf a little while ago. I don't know. It seems. I think Toni Morrison seems like an author that is just a little bit too serious for me. I don't know if I could enjoy it. But I probably could, being in the right mood, but it just doesn't feel right. So then there's a bunch of authors I didn't know existed. Herta Müller is one that I'm not familiar with at all. Let's see if my camera can focus on the least important thing in my picture. And T.C. Boyle, Frank McCourt, Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore is also a name I haven't heard earlier, but will be willing to check out. So I probably will go through this later and check them out to see if any one of those can be of use to me. So I have also been suggested reading Elie Wiesel's Night, and that has been in my shopping basket cart a bunch of times because it just sounds bleak, which is something that happens. I can't remember what he or she won the prize for. It's not literature, it's something else. Maybe it's the Peace Prize. I'm on in uncharted territories. But the one novel which I've put in my basket like 3 times now, like 3 different versions of the same novel, is Stefan Zweig's a chess novel, which probably some of you have read. I think it's a short story of his. After reading the Stefan Zweig book that I did not so long ago, I really, really, really want to read that novel again. So if some of you have read the chess novel, please scream out in the comments if I should buy it this time. the the conundrum I'm in regarding the chess novel by Stefan Zweig is if I should read it in Norwegian English. The it's often I know I get a little bit more out of it maybe reading it in Norwegian, or it's you know that you can relax a little bit more if you read something in your first language, but reading it in English cost half the price, and also I could get it in the modern, the Penguin Modern Classic, which is something that I think being a modern Penguin Modern Classic is a reason why I haven't thrown out some of the books that I have standing here. I can try to give you an example. I think this is a good example. I don't know if this is kind of a me novel at all. John Carrack on the Road. Uh, Even though Bob Dylan seems to love this book, I don't think it's for me. But I haven't yet gotten to get rid of it because getting rid of books is hard. It's very difficult. So it's still here. Is there someone in the comments left? I can't see that there has been change in the comments. If that's something is wrong or people just aren't feeling it, I don't know. But I'm going to keep on talking a little bit more. I have one author that I recently watched the what's it called, the Thursday Murder Club. I love the fact that I asked myself what's it called, because I'm sitting here with the two books that I have read. Josephie says, I'm still here lurking. Ah, that's good. Then I know it's working at least. That's the most important thing. Let's try to... Here we go. These are the first two books in this series. I have one normal copy of the first book, which I think they're cool covers, even though I feel like there are so many books after a while that has copied this, made it into like a thing, having the same kind of font and like the simplistic but not simplistic at all look of these books. It's like we have a lot of letters and then something small on the side, and yeah, I feel like this is becoming a thing, or has become a thing a little while ago, and it's annoying, very annoying. But then there's this grandfather copy, which is like it doesn't look like it here, but it's just a huge font, and it's made for people that can't see that good, or just love humongous books, which I can enjoy. But now I'm left with the thought of which one am I going to continue reading, because I do really love both of these books, and I'm going to read book number 3. But if I'm going to read book number 3, then I could do something. I don't have the opportunity to do something fun, but I could buy it in the Norwegian edition, because both of these are English, which would be kind of fun having 3 different editions. It wouldn't be fun, but I'm considering if I should add 3 different fonts instead of 2 different, where 2 and 1 book. You get my drift. And talking about drift, I feel like I'm drifting a little bit. I've read the chess novella by Zweig a few years ago. I thought it was good, but not as good as Verdnavigor. Well, that is also what I'm fearing. But the world of yesterday, or Verdnavigor, is just magnificent. So it's almost impossible to write a story that's the same amount of goodness, I guess, because, well, obviously you know how the world happened after that novel was written, and thus it can never be as good as your, like, the writing and your brain works things out afterwards, if that makes sense. It's like, you know that the world was not going to be a good place. And yeah, combined with the beautiful things he says about art and Europe and how people should stick together, it's just depressing as depressing as it gets, which is sort of beautiful and disturbing and all the good things that you might get out of a novel. I view in my mind, and this might be because I was looking into the same books at the same time. I was looking into reading the chess novella at the same time as I was looking at reading Elie Wiesel's Night. So yeah, those to me are in the same category, even though I don't know if they're similar at all. Let's see if I have several other books I'm considering reading. Yeah, one of the authors I'm considering reading is not Hemingway, it's Churchill. Maybe they have some of the same aesthetics. I can't really remember how I was coming into that territory. How I started mixing up those two. I feel like there's a bit similarity between Churchill and Hemingway. Anyway, I did not know that Churchill had won the Nobel Prize for Literature, or I think I've heard about it before, then forgotten about it, and then heard it again, which made me very intrigued in checking out how good his books are. They're about the Second World War, of course, and well, it makes sense that that is something I could enjoy. I'm a man in his 30s. Maybe I'm like 10 years in advance, but after a while, it's someone said that it's sort of like sorting. It's sort of like being sorted into the Harry Potter houses. When you become an older man, you can either start digging into Second World War or local history, and I forgot about what the third one is, but you get into one of those things and you never escape. Maybe it's about buying a expensive bicycle and just start to never being home more. I guess something about that. So let's see. Yeah, and then there's also in the same category as Elie Wiesel and as Stefan Zweig, it's Bohumil Rabal, Too Loud a Solitude. There really seems to be a theme for this shopping basket. It's like I should try to find something that's more entertaining. I need to read some entertaining books and not be dragged into a hole of depressing real stuff. I can relate to that. I'm only 28 though. Yeah, it's only going to get worse, I guess. I don't know. I was really hooked. I was really into European history and the Second World War when I was a child. So I felt like I tried to distance myself a little bit from it, only to see myself growing up to be like interested in that topic again, I guess. I think that is what's going to happen. But I'm foreshadowing. I think we've reached a critical point of this live stream. I have a lot of books in my shopping basket, and I think I will try to figure out which of these books I'm going to buy. I thought I'd try to keep myself to buying only 5 of these books, which I think is a good number. It doesn't mean that I'm ruining my plan of not having that many unread books in my shelf, and I can still enjoy new books. Probably been interested in World War II since the age of 12. Yeah, same here. It's what happens in school, I guess. You get to learn about it, and then you think, what is this, and why is this? So, with this said, I would like to thank you all for joining this live stream. I know that this was not properly planned. It was kind of in the spur of the moment. I did really enjoy this. I love to hang around with you and talk to you. So to me, this is great. So I hope you have a terrific Sunday going forward, and I'll see you in the next video or a live stream or whatever. So have a nice day. Bye.